Alright, so I am back, and today, I know it's been a long time since I've done any kind of content. Let's see, it's been, let's see, my last video, 5 months ago, and that was that quick review of the Transart Vice Poison, which I shot on my phone. And before that was Robots in Disguise RID Tow Line 10 months ago. So, yeah, it's been a little while. So, I felt like I needed to do a quick update, or just probably going to turn into a long update and explain some situations that's been going on and, just in general, everything that's going on recently. Because I think I gave an update on my channel. I don't remember when. Maybe 11 months ago? August? I'm just trying to... June 24th? Maybe that was when I did the update. Alright, so... man, since the last year, I got promoted at the hotel. I'm the general manager, which is the initial main reason why the reviews have pretty much stopped is, I've always said life has to come before hobbies, and, as my responsibilities at the hotel increased, my ability to do, reviews of Transformers decreased. I didn't have the time. I didn't have the time, the energy, or the will to do it. So that's probably the biggest reason why you haven't seen a lot from me. Well, like I said, the original biggest. There was other things going on too, such as the I switched from MP to like a Chug the MP to Chug. And then I started getting into the MDLX line and started switching to that aesthetic more. Ultimately, I wasn't satisfied with that, and I ended up going to Legends for a minute. Got a bunch of them, and they were cool and all, but ultimately, for their price, I couldn't get the value. It didn't fit well with me, or sit well with me with that. And then after that, I kind of toyed getting back into MP. I've got, like 5 or 6 MPs on my shelf. And that's pretty much it. Transformer-wise, the Quick Strike is pretty much the newest figure I've gotten. Well, I got Scourge. Extron's Fans Toys Scourge, too. And that's pretty much it. I haven't really been collecting all that much because it hasn't really been like holding a major interest for me at the moment. Just a lot of other things going on. So yeah, there was the promotion to general manager. And the most exciting news is I got engaged last August, which happiest day of my life easily. Me and Alex, we've been getting together, I think we're going on 9 years. No, 9 years next year. So it's 8 years this year. And that's, like I said, happiest moment of my life. I can't, I proposed to her, and I'm really proud of this. I proposed to her, silence the phone, at a escape room where at the end of the puzzles, if you've ever done an escape room, there's always like puzzles and this and that. Well, the end of the escape room, they had like a table in the middle of the room, and a pedestal would come out of the table, and it would open up with all these lights on the final little treasure, and I had placed the engagement ring there with the help of the escape room people, and it was pretty good. it's on, for those of you that are friends of mine, and also friends of Alex's. I think we both have it posted on our Facebook, but she might be the only one that has it. But there's a quick little video. It doesn't have audio, but you can see it. It's. I was really proud of that. So that's update, the general update. Now we go into the other part of this video, which is a major thank you to a lot of people out there. I have been going through some medical issues almost for a year now, and was getting pretty over my head with bills. And Alex ended up reaching out to Bobby after she had created a GoFundMe. And Bobby Skullface, he posted all over, and in a day, I think it was, we passed $2,000. Right now we're sitting almost $3,000. It's a huge, huge help. You guys don't understand how over my head I am with these medical bills and things associated with it. And so it is so greatly appreciated that everyone was able to pitch in, $5-10 here and there. I told this to Bobby, that it's like I'm such a small name in the YouTube community, and I'm not very vocal in the groups, and so I don't talk. I'm not involved as much as somebody like Bobby is, or other YouTubers, and especially over the last year, I've given you guys like no content, and yet everyone still pitched together and donated so much money, and it's just, I try not to tear up here. It just means the world to me. You guys are all awesome, so I wanted to thank you. And then I wanted to go in and explain what's been happening, so you guys can just be aware of it. So it basically started last August, September. I started having pains in my left calf. It just started hurting. It was very strange. I didn't understand what was going on, but it was kind of like coming and going. So I was like, yeah, maybe I just pulled something. But then it went to my right thigh, and we've actually never figured out what caused it. But it was such pain that I couldn't sleep. Like a whole night, I couldn't sleep. It hurt so bad. I woke up crying. It was awful. And the whole while I was having some chest pain. So I contacted my doctor. They got me in right away. They did EKGs. All that came back good. They tested my blood pressure. They said that was a little high, and they'll keep an eye on it. But they were concerned for blood clots, and because it does kind of run in the family. And so I had to go to a number of specialists, got CAT scans, MRIs, ultrasounds, all of these things. We found I had an enlarged spleen, I had a kidney stone, and a partial calcification of an artery next to my heart. But all of which didn't explain the leg pain. And the calcification, they weren't overly worried about it, but they did make me have to change my diet. No more fried food, no more beef for the most part. I can have like grass-fed beef, I guess, but not regular beef. I can't just go to McDonald's, which is probably for the best anyway. And no more pork, and a few other things too. So basically it's been vegetables, chicken, and fish. That's been my diet. So there's that. They never figured out what was causing leg pain, and they put me on some medicine for cholesterol. Even though my cholesterol was fine, they said that it would also still just help my heart and keep that artery from clogging all the way. It's one of those, we're aware of it, we're going to keep an eye on it. Same with the spleen. Like, oh yeah, it's enlarged, but it's not to the point where we need to do anything, so we're just going to keep an eye on it. Which is the phrase I have heard more times than I can count in the last year. It's been obnoxious. So fast forward to end of December, early January range. I had a really bad migraine. It was actually kind of like located in my left eye. It was really bad, and I don't get migraines. I get headaches every now and then, but I don't get migraines. But this was something else. Nausea, intense pain. I had light sensitivity. I mean, you go down the migraine list and it's check. But it was all like just right in my eye. It went away after a few days, but I never got it checked out. But talking to my doctors, they think it's related to what I'm about to go into. So early April rolls around, and similar problem, but this time it's my right eye. It was the pain was more dull than it was like the first one, but I was very light sensitive, and then I started seeing voids, like just there's like spots that just weren't there anymore in my vision. They were just gone. It's hard to explain, but just imagine like, just get like a black Sharpie and go on your screen and just put a couple dots, a handful of dots on there, and just pretend that vision's not there. Whatever's behind that dot, it's no longer there, which was awkward enough. Then I also was noticing that straight lines for just my right eye, straight lines were wavy. But my left eye, everything was straight. So it was extremely disorienting, being like my left side saying, this is a straight line, and my right side's like, no, it's not. It's wavy. And it was very confusing. And then I started getting blurriness, and it started like here, and then just slowly worked its way up. And it was to the point where only like this little field of vision up at the top of my left hand side of my right eye's vision was clear. So, and this happened over the course of a few days, and I didn't know what was going on. So I emailed my doctor. They told me go see an vision doctor. I'm gonna butcher a lot of these specialist names coming up. And I real quick, also back in August of last year, I had to do a stress test, which if you've ever had a stress test, you know exactly what it is, and it is not fun. I hated it. But anyway, so I go see the eye doctor. They do some scans of my eye. He goes in there, he's looking at the scans, leaves the room real quick, sends somebody else back in there. They do blood pressure again. Or no, they did. That was the first time they did blood pressure. They looked at the numbers. I've never been overly concerned with my blood pressure, so I didn't know what the numbers meant. No idea. This guy looks at the numbers and says, I think the machine's broken. Let me go get another one. So he goes and gets another machine, comes in there, does it again. Same readings. And I was like, oh, okay. They're like, whatever. It's always a little high. It's nothing to worry about. So then the eye doctor comes back in, and he's explaining it. And he's the one that told me that what was going on with my eye was I had a stroke. And now, since then, I've had a number of doctors that say, oh, it wasn't a stroke, and other doctors saying it was. The majority was telling me that it was. It's like a stroke, but it's not a stroke. But essentially, I had a stroke, and it was due to my blood pressure being too high. And or at least that was the theory. It continues. Trust me. They're pretty sure that that's what caused that particular stroke. And they also were saying that they think that the first vision, or the first time I had eye pain, they think that might have been a stroke. But they don't know. Because it was past the point of being able to see anything. Anyway, so with my right eye, I had a stroke, or technically it's called a retinal vein occlusion or artery vein occlusion, arterial vein occlusion, something vein occlusion, where essentially the veins inside my eye have exploded and there was blood pooling on the inside of my eye. That's where the voids were coming from, and the blurriness was the blood inside of my eye. And then the waviness was actually because the pressure in my eye had actually mostly, they said it was over pressurized, which I don't understand because it seemed like it was under pressurized. I don't know, but usually your eyeballs shaped like a curve, but mine was like this, and that's where the wavy lines came from. So my eye wasn't a perfect like half circle. It was like it was wavy lines, and that's so anyway. Then he's talking to me about my blood pressure, which was at the time 198/126, which I find out really quickly here, that's a hypertension emergency, and I needed to go to the ER. Because first he's like, oh, just follow up with your doctor. Then he's like, you should talk to your doctor today. Actually, you should go to the urgent care. And then 2 seconds later, he's like, never mind, go straight to the ER. Don't do anything else, just go straight to the ER. And I was like, okay, I guess I'm going to the ER. And of course, now I'm stressed. And they'd put all the chemicals in my eyes, so now I can't see straight. So I had to call somebody like, hey, can you take me to the hospital? They said I had a stroke. So spent, day and a half in the hospital. They did a bunch of scans, finally put me on some blood pressure medicine, got my blood pressure down. First they got it too far down, and then I almost blacked out, and then they got it back up, and it was a mess. So after that, then I had to go start seeing other doctors. I had to go see my doctor. I had to go see a retinal specialist. I had to go see a neurologist, who then did blood tests. I've given out so much blood in the past 3 months. And that eventually led me to a rheumatologist, looking for autoimmune diseases. But yeah. So anyway, the ER doctors there, they did a bunch of scans. They said brain looks okay, which, okay, that's great. Get my blood pressure under control, which is great. So we think that was kind of the end of it. A few weeks later, I'm at work. There was an issue with a coworker, which got me pretty heated, which raised my blood pressure. And the EMTs were already at the hotel because they were looking at a guest that had drunk himself almost to death. They saw me, kind of like my face was kind of changing colors, and I kept going like this. So they came in, took my blood pressure, said it was really high again, took me to the ER, EKGs, scans, all that stuff again. So that was fun. Let's see. And then a few more weeks, it was about a month later. Everything seems to be going okay. I'm having chest pain here and there. But I'm watching my blood pressure really closely. And for the most part, it's all been pretty good. So there's this Saturday, and there's not much going on. So it's not like it was a stressful day. We don't know what happened here. Everything was going smoothly. There was no issues at the hotel. It was actually a relatively slow, easy day. I started getting chest pains. And then I started getting headaches and jaw pain. And then my right arm started getting the pins and needles feeling. And I was losing strength in my right hand. But I've already been at the ER twice. They've done scans. There's, I'm sitting there thinking there's nothing for them to do. So I just go home. Whatever. I just deal with it. It was a few days later when I was talking to one of my doctors. And I was like, this kind of happened to me on Saturday. It's still going on. At what point should I go to the hospital? I'm like, you're an idiot. Go to the hospital right now. So I go down there. They do all their tests. They finally ruled that as an ischemic stroke. They think it was kind of located in this area, but they weren't sure because they couldn't find it in the scan. Because by this point, it had pretty much cleared out. But they could tell that it was still a stroke. So that's officially is my second stroke, but unofficially we think 3 strokes now. And then, another rounds of tests and all this stuff. And then I got, I was told I tested positive for a couple autoimmune tests, but negative for some autoimmune diseases. And the rheumatologist who, is the one that tests that was saying while you did test positive for these things, which do indicate that you have an autoimmune disease, we're not seeing any overall issues. So we're just going to wait and see what happens. Things. The retinal specialist that I had been seeing, so in order to keep my eye from doing it again, I've got to get injections every 4 weeks, or at least the first 2 months of it. I had to get injections every 4 weeks with some enzyme that keeps my eye pressure from building up too much. And then that eventually led to a laser surgery that fried out a lot of my peripheral vision in my right eye. And so now it's to the point where it's like it's so far out of my field of vision that it doesn't bother me, except for in certain lights, and it's like weird static on the side. The hope on that surgery though was that was going to solve it, so I won't need injections. But it turns out it didn't help. It didn't solve the problem. So now back to injections. But now it's every 6 weeks as of now. So we'll see how that goes. And then I have a bad reaction to one of the medicines I've been put on. Because they've been putting me on all sorts of different medicines. They've been kind of throwing things at me like, we'll try this for a while. We'll try this for a while. We'll try that for a while. See what we can do to help you to stop from going to the ER all the time. So I have this really bad reaction, which, of course, I end up back in the ER, and to the point where they actually didn't have the right facility to monitor me. So I actually was then transferred from that hospital to another hospital. Not a fun day. And I was there for another 36 hours before they finally were like, okay, it seems like this medicine's cleared your system. Let's send you home. But that was a nightmare on itself. I really thought I was going to die that day. I don't have words for that one. And then, so then they switched the medicine to something else, and that seems to be working much better. Blood pressure seems to be pretty well under control. But then again, like I said, that the ischemic stroke, my blood pressure was fine. The whole time my blood pressure was fine. At no point was it above like 120 over, I think it was like 73. It was, they're just like, we don't know what's going on. And I'm like, thanks, guys. And they're just like, well, just go home and, we'll see what happens. And so, that's just been my answer. So, last time I went to the hospital was 2 weeks ago. Chest pains, and this one was strange, and they didn't know what to make of it, but I would have a chest pain that would last for about a minute, and then as it would fade, something else would happen. Like I would get a headache, and then that would fade away, and then a little while later I'd have chest pain, and then all of a sudden I'd get nauseous as it would go away. And one point I had chest pain, and then my jaw locked up as it was fading away. So I went back to the ER, more scans and all that stuff, and still nothing. So anyway, so over the course of the last 3 months, I've been to the ER 5 different times, hospitalized twice, more scans and blood tests than I can possibly ever imagine. And I burned through my savings trying to, pay for some of these specialists which weren't covered under my ER or under my insurance, and then put, which that was almost $10,000 out of pocket, and then I had to do, and I put about another $10,000 on credit cards. That's what's with in between medicine that's not covered and specialists that aren't in the network. It's just stupid. And about another $10,000 of medical debt that I still have to pay. So, yeah, it was probably about $30,000. And what really sucks is that I finally hit my deductible in April with that first ER visit, which was good because then most of outside of the specialists and stuff that aren't in the network, most of it was going to get paid for my insurance. What sucks is my insurance resets in May. So I hit the deductible in April, and then in May I have to re-hit my deductible, and that, that's an awesome way to do that. But on the plus side, my insurance has covered a lot, almost everything else from this point on. But had I not had insurance, I'd be looking at probably $200,000 or $300,000. But anyway. So, we're hopeful that I'm on the right regimen now. Lots of steroids and medicines and all this stuff. And luckily I've been pain-free for about a week, chest pain. But, we'll see what happens. Just one step at a time. It's, it's concerning because it's like, they always say, go to the ER with chest pain, and you go to the ER and they're like, yeah, we can't find anything, go home. And it's just like, makes me feel a lot better, guys. Thanks for the help. But anyway, like I said, with this GoFundMe that Alex set up it's just amazing. The reaction that has been. I am going to put it in the link below in case anybody wants to or didn't know about it. Everything helps. I'm not a person that typically asks for help. Usually I sit there like, oh, I need money, I'm going to sell stuff. But I don't really have much left to sell at this point. Because I've just been I've been trying to fund these medical things for one, and other thing, it's like when you're paying so much for the medical stuff, then you forget like, oh, I still have to do this too. And so it all just kind of went over my head, and it was also one of those like, I didn't care. I still don't, it's like, I mean, it sucks, that I've dug, I have a hole, this financial hole that I've kind of built myself. But at the same time, it's like, I don't care because I want to continue my life. I'm only 40 years old, and I shouldn't be, over here like, oh, is the next stroke going to happen in my car? Or is that next stroke going to be, that's the one where I permanently lose, facial movement. It's bad enough that I've already lost a chunk of vision in my right eye, and chances are good that's never going to come back. I had to go get new glasses because it actually changed my vision to the point where I'm like, I need new glasses. But it's just been, I've missed so much work. It's just I'm trying my hardest, and try not to be overwhelmed with it. And for the most part, I've been pretty optimistic. But this last week, when Bobby posted the kind words that he did, and the reaction from the fandom, putting all this money together so quickly, it really helps. Not just financially, but on an emotional level. Just feeling that the love from the community, it means so much to me from you guys. So again, from my bottom of my heart, thank you guys so much. Yeah, try not to get broken up here. But anyway, thank you guys so much. As far as videos go, obviously my money's tied up with other things. Shout out to Chris. We were working on a deal for some MPs that he was selling me, and I was really excited to get into that again. But this has got overwhelming, so I have to put that on the back burner, and he was totally cool with it. So shout out to Chris for that, and then it's just shout out to everybody out there for helping out. John Lant, he's out there. He's trying to spread the word too. So it's greatly appreciated. I think Bobby's post raised about 2,500, and Lant he got about 500. So I'm so happy. Like I said, it warms my heart, and it just makes me feel like a part of the community, even though it's like I barely feel that I'm part of the community on a normal day, because I feel like I'm just that quiet guy that scrolls through Facebook and doesn't say much. But this makes me feel part of something bigger. So thank you guys so much. And if I get some more videos, I will. And I will try to be better at least posting some updates here and there. If you guys want to, just let me know in the comments if you guys want to. But again, thank you guys so much. Beyond words. I'm so thankful.